Have you ever heard of the welfare queen? Do you know stereotypes contribute to systemic oppression? Systemic oppression is the intentional disadvantaging of a group of people while advantaging a more dominant group. In this speech, I will discuss the causes, signs, and symptoms and trauma associated with systemic oppression. Stereotypes are commonly viewed as shady or humorous comments adopted, repeated within communities about race, nationality, and sexual orientation. In article Internalized Oppression and Its Varied Moral Harms, Nabina Lebo expresses that internalized oppression can cause a person to conceive themselves as a deviant agent as well as a reduced one. This was published in 2016. This is significant because stereotypes are acknowledged as lighthearted conversation topics when in reality stereotypes are socially inhibiting gossip. Lebo also stated that the adoption of stereotypical projection impacts the morality and image of an individual. In her quote, "This self-conception is also damaging to one's moral identity and creates challenges that are not captured by merely analyzing." This was published in 2016 as well. Drexel University explained that trauma generates poverty by negatively impacting physical and mental health, which in turn increases barriers to employment. This was published by Drexel University in 2019. Stereotypes are one of the forms of verbal discrimination that commonly influence the perception of others by implicit bias. Implicit bias is the process of the brain automatically associating stereotypes and attitudes about a particular group without conscious awareness. Peter McDonald and Mickey Coleman explain hierarchies of oppressive experiences are defined and denounced as inextricably emanating from the same destructive force as their inverse. In other words, social oppression like colorism, sexism, racism, and all the other isms are spread the same exact way on the opposite side. This was found on tnf.com, tnfonline.com in 2007. A Microsoft-published PDF from 2015 by Naomi Takashi defines systemic oppression as transgenerational trauma and manifests itself in the form of mental and physical health disparities such as depression, suicide, violence, silence, PTSD, and self-harm, and etc. In conclusion, stereotypes are one of the many forms of systemic oppression. Although they've been normalized as icebreakers, they are systemic devices of social oppression that have been cultivated to discriminate and discourage against each other. Finally, as members of society, it is our responsibility to acknowledge the issue of social oppression and its impact on economic oppression.